Everyone wants to grow their business. We want more revenue, more profit, and more freedom. But most founders chase that growth the wrong way. They cycle through marketing hacks. They jump from platform to platform, and they buy another course hoping for a silver bullet. And then they wonder why their revenue stays flat. In this video, I'm breaking down the real fundamentals of business growth. The same principles that can help you grow your revenue by 30% in 6 months without doubling your stress. And you want to stick around because most founders miss the one growth lever that has nothing to do with marketing, and it's the only one that actually allows you to scale. All right, let's get started. So look, to win in this game, you have to accept a boring truth. Growth is math, not motivation. If you want to increase your revenue by 30%, you don't need a miracle. You need to move a few specific variables. 1 is more leads. 2, higher conversions. 3, higher pricing. 4, better retention. And 5, higher lifetime value. That's it. Most businesses only try to increase leads. Other businesses only focus on higher conversions. And then you have some that just increase their prices. And here's the thing, all of these can help, but if you can do all of these at the same time, you're gonna grow much faster. Now, remember, each of these has its own strategy. And if you don't have the team and the bandwidth to do this, you might go a little bit crazy. And one thing to remember is what the hardest lever is, right? You can ask yourself, what if I improve conversion by 5%? What if I increase prices by 10%? What if I reduce churn by 15%, right? Small shifts compound. An example of this would be if you close 20% of the leads and raise it to 25%, and that's a 25% increase in revenue without more traffic. Most founders ignore optimization because it's less exciting than quote unquote growth hacks. But optimization is where real money hides. But once you fix the math, you hit the most dangerous limit in any business, capacity. Let's talk about why you, the founder, the manager, the CEO, are likely the hidden ceiling on your own success. Look guys, most businesses don't fail to grow because of a lack of demand. They fail because they lack the infrastructure to handle it. You want 30% growth? Ask yourself, if your sales double tomorrow, would your business survive? Think about this. Everybody wants more money, but are you going to be willing to do what it takes to make more money? I'll give you guys an example right now. Romolatinos, as it stands, can double its business tomorrow. But if you quadrupled it, we wouldn't have a business in the next 3 months. Seriously. So I would love to hit $1 million a month. I would love to hit $2 million a month, but we do not have the infrastructure, the systems, the leadership to withstand that just yet, right? Now we can double, we can probably even triple. But once you get to 4 or 5x where we are, man, oh man, we're entering that close to 8-figure business. And we currently, as we said, do not have that infrastructure. And I'll tell you guys another example. I used to work for a marketing agency several years ago. And I remember when we hit our first growth spur, we were not ready for this. But thankfully, it wasn't a massive growth spur. It was only a double growth spur from where we were within about 3 or 4 months. So while it was pretty big, it wasn't like deadly. However, we still weren't ready. And even when we doubled, several months later, our revenue went down because we did not have the right team members or the systems to withstand that growth. So it's one thing to hit a peak, it's one thing to grow, it's another thing to be able to sustain that growth and grow from your current growth. Because just because you hit $100,000 months doesn't mean anything. Can you do it again and again and again, make that your bare minimum, and then start getting to 120, 130, 140,000 a month and beyond? Because if not, you don't have a growth problem, you have a systems problem. This is where having an A-player team come in. You cannot scale revenue if you are answering every email, you are closing every deal, you are managing every project, and you are approving every single task. Growth requires leverage. This is why hiring isn't an expense, it's a growth multiplier. If a $2,000 per month hire frees you 20 hours a week, and in those 20 hours generates you $15,000 to $20,000 in new sales, that's not payroll, that's ROI. That is literally the definition of return on investment. You now have leverage to be able to grow beyond what you did before. Remember this, guys, nothing great was built alone. Everybody needs help, everybody needs support. And if you're not getting that, guess what? You're gonna go crazy and you're gonna burn out. And I promise you, that is not the goal of the business. That's not why you started. Remember, leverage is the multiplier. But if you apply it too many things at once, you just create faster chaos. To truly scale, you need a level of focus that most founders find uncomfortable. And I want to go back to a point I said earlier. You only want to attack all the growth mechanisms if you have the teams and the systems to do it. Otherwise, it's better to just do it one at a time. For example, I have the team and the growth opportunity to do this because we have about 30 team members. However, 2 or 3 years ago, when we only had 15 of us, it was going to be much harder to attack multiple things at once. So guys, look, the second trap founders fall into is trying to grow by doing more services, more offers, more audiences. But the fastest way to grow is almost always to do less, but do it better. Remember, less is more. I cannot tell you how many times Alex Hormozi told us this when we went to his office a year ago in Las Vegas, right? The fastest way to grow revenue is usually to narrow your ICP or narrow your ideal customer profile, strengthen one offer, improve one acquisition channel, double down on what's already working. An example of this would be, instead of launching 3 new services, well, how about you increase your core offer price by 15% and you improve the delivery on it. Another one is, instead of adding 5 traffic sources, master one until it's predictable and you're able to see exactly your ROI from it, and then double down on it, because less is more. Just because you expand does not mean anything. And I know I told you guys earlier to expand. Here's the thing, you want to do that in a smart way. Number one, most of you do not have the team members and the systems and the operation to go all in on 5 different things. That's one. But more importantly, you haven't even figured out one channel that consistently provides you traffic. So how can you expand to 5? That's like trying to be a chef, but not even knowing how to cook one meal. Meanwhile, you want to cook 17 different meals. That would be crazy, right? You would call someone an absolute R word if they did that. Growth comes from depth, not chaos. Depth over distance. Now that we have the principles, let's map this out in a practical 6-month blueprint so you can actually execute. To achieve 30% growth in 6 months isn't just a fantasy, it's a project. Here's the framework for the next 180 days. Month 1 through 2 is optimize. Improve your conversions, raise pricing slightly, tighten your offer. Month 3 to 4, expand capacity, delegate low average tasks, hire for bottlenecks, and build repeatable systems. And month 5 through 6, scale what works, increase ad spend on proven channels, strengthen follow-up systems, improve retention and upsells. That's it. No magic, no hacks, just disciplined execution. The blueprint works, but you have to make it work. And this requires you to step out of the weeds, even if you're still doing all the work, because you'll never be able to really grow this thing by yourself. You have to hire and you have to leverage yourself out. And this is exactly where we come in, guys. If you hire a Latinos today, not only will we be able to find you an A player, we can get you on interviews within just a couple days. After you hire the person, because they're an A player, you can immediately leverage that person, their knowledge, their experience, to actually grow and scale faster. This is what we do internally for our company, and this is what we do for many other businesses. We are not just hiring people, we're not just hiring VAs, we're not hiring high schoolers, we're hiring real A players that come with years of experience, skill, incredible English. They have degrees, masters, and work experience in your fields. So if that's what you're looking for, go to remolatinos.com, schedule a call with our team, let us help you find that person. The final thing I want to say here is, your secret to growth is understanding that it doesn't come from just working harder. It comes from a specific combination of 3 things: better math, better systems, better people. Revenue growth without structure creates stress. Revenue growth with systems creates freedom. If you want to grow 30% in 6 months, stop chasing tactics, fix the fundamentals. So if that sounds like you and you want to hire A players and you want to finally out leverage yourself, head over to remolatinos.com or comment remote below so I can send you the remote hiring blueprint for free to show you exactly what you need step by step to vet and hire A player candidates, and most importantly, to finally grow and scale your business. Thank you so much for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Os.